Circling back on the play with your eye, what would you say to the crowd of people that think a hit like that was intentional and maybe even warrants a suspension?
It wasn't intentional by any means. You just watched the play. It wasn't intentional.
All right. Thank you, Caitlin.
Thanks, Caitlin.
Stephena annihilate Molly Krim after her disgraceful comments about Caitlin Clark ate me and Clark. Caitlin Clark has just made history by winning Rookie of the Year and being voted into the first team on bar, but during her playoff but merely 2 minutes in she suffered a vicious eye poke that left her bruised, and yet the jealousy from Marley Karim, Monica McNutt, Andre Carter, and Cheryl Swoops continues to be louder than her achievements. Stephena, in his typical unapologetic manner, exposed their envy for all to see. The impact Clark has made both in terms of breaking records and setting new standards for rookies cannot be understated. Her performance has not only ignited the fever, but also drawn nationwide attention, sparking debates and conversations across the sports world. Yeah, that was a reality. What, as far as I finally got a break, really quite dry. I think one of the impetus is especially for this conversation with obviously her not getting an Olympic roster spot, right? Remember, we had a big debate over that. Was she deserving of it? Was it more the marketing, the hype? And here's what I'll say, and I know, Andrea, that you agree. At that point some of us felt like maybe she had proved it in the WNBA, but at this point she certainly has. She proved everybody Rodham I regard already. Live talk about the going to do, make it look about the guy didn't make a habit were drill got. You know, one of the world is that you learned how to dodge, played that within the limits out of employers, or why we can't take out Caitlin. Finish the W season and unvivid. That's how she would have done in the Olympics. That's a completely different largely to me. Look at that point. Look at how you play open to that point. Trail 3, great, have only played 1 game. Reports you went to get with it being gentle about we're down to roughly what she was. She outplayed the ammo. To reflect at that point job that she would only think different group with your thoughts that will know what she out with Caitlin outplaying Diana Taurasi, but you can't just factor in current place and that's all I'm saying. I'm not an accurate Gregory. We have your factoring in Diana Taurasi is Olympic exploring is Diana Taurasi is wow, she was with the team, you know, all and hardline once one get event in front. Why would you put into a lot of big lifetime achievement Shannon Sharp people them as I get what you're saying in is you guys were right, that's all we're saying. You know Bobby, you did not say that. Molly, my old I know, got know what you say, you don't know what you said. Molly, you let us know what you're doing. I don't know. How are we talking about? You were talking about it make, you were talking about folks maker. The point that, excuse me, at the time that bigger picture Liberty currently clock didn't necessarily deserve it based on Atlanta court, when a point that Shannon and I was making at the time was that wait a minute in the, and there are people that have ended up on USA for reasons other than just the only all at that particular moment planning. GG will look at all bloody way, I edited it pretty was the I want as I can. She has a marketing ways and she did it on the court. What's it what we would think they will we ever know mildly that you are ahead of the car not live. And about Molly, get not listening on talk about your point Molly, your point, and I'm a droplet. What you gonna do? You at the end of the day we were making a point. Do you watch want to promote the league or not? And people like Andre and others were this resistant so that playing a role in somebody's making the roster for Team USA, we would say it. How would that you want to promote the sport? You put that girl up in the air. People were appalled at that notion. Why would you been a lot make Caitlin Clark in her debut year shattered expectations, leading all rookies with 19.2 points per game, racking up 337 assists and setting new records for three-pointers. Made Clark became the face of the WNBA future Rookie of the Year, of course. First team Mamba absolutely, yet somehow her success continues to attract bitter envious commentary from the likes of Molly Cream and her crew. Let's not forget that Clark's impact wasn't confined to just her individual accolades. She revitalized a franchise and brought a wave of excitement to the entire on board. The way she handles the ball, her incredible court vision, her leader ship, all these traits combined have positioned her as not just a rookie standout but a foundational player for the Fever's future. Her basketball IQ is off the charts, which makes the dismissive comments from people like Krim even more laughable. Jealousy, plain and simple. Those who can't match her skills seem to resort to undermining her character. It's almost predictable at this point, isn't it, when you're breaking records left and right? They find a way to tear you down. Stephena couldn't stay silent as he pointed out that jealousy was the real reason behind these dismissive remarks. After all, how can you criticize someone who set the league on fire? It's not just the numbers Clark puts up, it's the way she controls the game. Every pass, every shot, every defensive move is calculated and deliberate. You can see the fear in the eyes of her opponents when she's on the floor. They know they are facing someone special. In what does Molly Karim in her circle do? Instead of praising greatness, the attempt to minimize it. Stephena's response was swift, calling them out for their pettiness, their inability to accept that a young white rookie was outshining the veterans. There's no hiding the buy here. It's jealousy disguised as critique, but this resentment didn't stay off the court. It followed Clark right into replay. Off to BU. Barely 2 minutes into her first ever playoff game, Caitlin Clark fell victim to what could only be described as a malicious act. Johnny Carrington, she and her nail directly into Clark's eye, leaving her with a noticeable bruise. Remarkably, the IRS every stood by and said nothing, just like her critics who have continuously ignored Clark's resilience. This wasn't an accident. It was intentional, designed to rattle Clark and her game, but what they didn't anticipate was how tough Clark is. She didn't let that stop her from delivering an incredible performance. Her ability to play through pain, to push through adversity, is what sets her apart from the rest. Carrington may have poked right, but it's clear that her real target was Clark's dominance. The incident shows just how far some players are willing to go to try and slow down, but even in the face of dirty tactics, Clark remains composed, and that's what makes her even more dangerous on the court. Stephen laid into Molly Cream and the others for staying silent during this blatant display of unsportsmanlike conduct. Where's the outrage, he questioned. Indeed, where was it? How can the supposed leaders of I'm in sports commentary, people who claim to support strong women, ignore such a flagrant foul? It's almost as if they are more interested in seeing Clark failed than and seeing justice served on the court. Stephen, as usual, was on point. He didn't let this pass without making it clear that the silence surrounding this incident was just another symptom of the deep-rooted jealousy Clark has been facing since day one. It's not about the game anymore, it's about the politics of This incident wasn't just a one-off, it's part of a larger pattern of resentment targeted at court. We're not just talking about players here. The sports media, particularly those with the platform, have a responsibility to call out behavior like this, but instead they've chosen to look the other way. Why? Because it's easier to criticize Clark than to acknowledge her greatness. It's easier to side with the veterans who are feeling threatened than to champion the young star who is clearly the future of the league. Let's be clear, Stephen wasn't pulling any punches when it came to Marley Crim, Monica McNutt, Indria Carter, in Cheryl Swoops. Their so-called analysis has been nothing short of petty jealousy. Stephen A, with his usual sharp wit, pointed out that their disdain isn't based on facts or logic, it's pure and the success of Caitlin Clark, an undeniable worse on the court, has seemingly rattled them beyond repair. It's not just a few snide comments here in there, no, it's a full-blown campaign to discredit her accomplishments, to minimize her impact, to reduce her to just another player in the league. But here's the truth. Clark isn't just another player, she's a phenomenon. And their refusal to give her the credit she deserves speaks volumes about their insecurity. Stephen, a critique was ruthless but fair. If Caitlin Clark were anyone else, would you still be downplaying her success? He asked. The answer is obvious, isn't it? Of course they wouldn't. If this were any other player, especially one who fit into their preferred narrative, they'd be singing her praises. But because Clark challenges the status quo, because she's rewriting the rules, they can't handle it. The jealousy is almost palpable at this point. It's as if they are watching their legacy slip away with every three-pointer she drains, every assist she dishes out. Stephen once again called it like it is. The bitterness is real, and it's only going to get worse as Clark continues to dominate. And while they continue to nitpick, Caitlin keeps breaking records. Her performance this season is nothing short of legendary. Despite the constant cheap shots and endless criticism from her peers, she continued to lead her team from triple doubles to game-winning assists. Caitlin Clark isn't just playing the game, she's redefining it, yet those who can't match her skill seem to resort to undermining her character. It's almost laughable. Here we have a rookie, someone who's just entered the league, and she's already been targeted east by veterans who should be mentoring and guiding her. Instead they're trying to tear her down, but Clark, as always, rises above it. Her focus is on winning, not on the petty drama that surrounds her. As Stephen rightly pointed out, they don't hate her because she's Caitlin Clark, they hate her because she's better than all of them. That's the truth. They don't want to admit Clark's skill set, her leadership, her ability to take control of a game. It's unmatched, and that terrifies them. It's easier to criticize them to compete, but while they're busy throwing shade, Clark is busy writing the record books. Clark's performance this season isn't just impressive, it's historic. She set records that will stand for years to come. Her rookie season alone has redefined what it means to be a game changer in the one. Back from her incredible A to her clutch shooting, she's proven that she's not just a rookie, she's a force to be reckoned with.